Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, which is Real Homeopathy, and today in this class I'll be explaining about Baryta carbonica, which is by Philip M. Bailey by Dr.Pragathi. So the Baryta carb is a constitutional homeopathic remedy which you can give it in certain cases, and I'm explaining about the psychology in its depth. So the keynote of that is immaturity. So Baryta carb origin. Baryta carb child's slow development is often accomplished by a history of birth trauma, especially asphyxia, such as occurs when the umbilical cord is wrapped around the neck. When the umbilical cord is wrapped around the neck here, like this, preventing adequate oxygen from reaching the brain. So this is the especially used in cases of asphyxia, such as neck, preventing adequate oxygen from reaching the brain. There is also a physical trauma to the head during birth, resulting in hemorrhage into the brain, results in slow development both physically, mentally, emotional levels. So there is also a physical trauma to the head and which results in hemorrhage. Next we'll see in the mental retardation. There is abnormal growth of the condition of the patient and it's called as the mental retardation. So the Baryta carb baby, it appears dull and relatively unresponsive to stimulation. So whatever stimulation may be there, so it becomes unresponsive to that. Okay. Milestones such as smiling, standing and walking are delayed here, as are subsequent complex skills such as talking, writing and social development. So these are the mental retardation symptoms. Unresponsive to stimulations. These difficulties remain to varying degrees as the child gets older, manifesting in variety of ways, including poor concentration at school, which is Kent concentration difficulty. There is decreased comprehension, dyslexia, difficulty in reading, okay, and behavioral abnormalities. There is also stubbornness is also a common Baryta trait. So there are trait here, common Baryta trait. You will see in the further slide. So there are milestones such as smiling, standing, walking. So these three things are delayed here. So there are some complex skills such as talking, writing and social development also. There is retardation in that. Next you will come to, there is a poor concentration here and dyslexia, difficult in the reading. There is stubbornness, unable to speak. Next, coming to the dull child. The dullness or lack of interest, which is unresponsiveness and enthusiasm, is the principal characteristic of many Baryta children, particularly the adolescent boys. In Kent, there is a rubric which is dullness to children. There is no organic brain dysfunction and no impairment of intelligence. They are just dull, apathetic, reluctant to talk and they are stubborn. These dull Baryta children must be differentiated from calcarea and sulfur types both physically and temporarily. So they have to be differentiated from calcarea and sulfur types, okay, both physically and temperamentally. Next, coming to sulfur has more confident than the Baryta carb. The Baryta child is not only dull but also shy. The sulfur Baryta child is not only dull but also shy, Kent timidity. Next you will see this dull sulfur child is not afraid but simply bored and defiant. Defiant means not willing to accept or cannot tolerate the criticism. So the dull sulfur child is not afraid but simply bored here. The person is very bored. He will look at you without fear when questioned, but his answers will still be short and evasive, which is avoiding or escaping it, since he is not interested in cooperating. So this person is very much very fearful. So there is no you look at you without any fear when questioned, but his answers will be very short and evasive, which is avoiding or kind of escaping, since he is not interested in cooperating. Another child who may be mistaken for this Baryta carb is dull natramere child. So there is calcaira child, sulfur child, and natramere child. So the dull natrum child appears sullen and will also answer in monosyllable. Monosyllable means only like a single word. So he answers very much like in a very single word. That is a natramere child. So there is lack of refinement here. What is lack of refinement? Refinement means the process of removing impurities or unwanted elements from things. Lack of refinement there. As one grows up, one usually becomes more sophisticated. Okay, much worldly experience and culture. There is both intellectual and socially. So this refinement is often lacking here. So this kind of refinement, the process of removing certain things as one grows up, there is nothing like that. He keeps on adding up as he grows. Certain things he has to eradicate or remove when he grows, but he still continues in his adult phase as well. The appearance and manner may sometimes be the first impression, especially in Baryta carb adults. Social skills are often last to be mastered by Baryta, who always retains some degree of shyness, can't averse to strangers' company. Some degree of shyness, mastered by Baryta, who always retain some degree of shyness, can't averse to strangers' company. They develop nature of social skills but retain certain nervousness. There is some developing social skills but retain certain nervousness, as nervous laughter or as being too keen to please. So the person here has a lot of social skills. Emotional immaturity. So this is the emotional immaturity symptom. Many remain immature emotionally, so they don't grow up being mature there. Emotionally they are immature. So shyness is one aspect of this emotional immaturity. There is desire to hide when new situations come. So there is shyness, and there is also a desire to hide when new situations come, particularly in presence of strangers. So whenever there are strangers, there is a kind of desire to hide. This shyness can be crippling socially, preventing Baryta from leading a normal life. This can be crippling socially, preventing Baryta from leading a normal life. So this is what here emotional immaturity means. So he is very shy, there is desire to hide, there is a kind of crippling socially which is preventing Baryta from leading a normal life. Very slow development is the essence of this Baryta carb. Slow development, the physical development as well as mental development, it is very slow. Baryta carb is one of the most fearful remedy types here. Fearful. Apart from shyness and fear of ridicule, other childish fears are commonly seen, including fear of ghost, fear of travel, okay, lying far from home, fear of ghost, fear of travel, lying far from home, fear of loud noises. New challenges such as a change in residence or a job interview are likely to be met with apprehension. So there are new challenges such as change in residence or a job interview. So there is emotional immaturity, there is shyness, desire to hide, slow development, more fearful remedies. Next, there is earthiness. Like calcaria, Baryta is very earthy type. Despite the relative simplicity of majority of Baryta, some do develop the sufficient confidence and sophistication to achieve positions of responsibilities in society. So down to earth the character type. So like a calcaria and Baryta, it is very earthy type. Despite the relative simplicity of majority of Baryta, some do develop the sufficient confidence and sophistication to achieve positions of responsibilities in society. So these types are especially missed by homeopath as calcaria or sulfur. Even Baryta carb has this kind of character. Some points like speech impediments and ability to perform mental arithmetic or an isolated childish habits such as mixing their food on the plate. Next, there is a senility. Old age is sometimes referred to as a second childhood. Those elderly people who become senile tend to revert to childish modes of thinking and behavior, and in these cases, Baryta carb can arrest or reverse the process. Old age is sometimes referred to as a second childhood. Those elderly people who become senile tend to revert to childish modes. First time during senile dementia, including dullness, mental retardation, confusion, and childlike emotional behavior. There is a senile dementia, including dullness, mental retardation, confusion, and childlike emotional behavior. In Kent, there is a rubric called senile dementia, absent minded, dullness, old people. Childlessness is the main impression one gets from senile Baryta from sulfur and lycopodium, both of whom can become childish in their old age. Childishness is the main impression. Old age, senile dementia, absent mindedness, there is dullness, mental retardation, confusion, and there is a childishness. The senile sulfur person tends to display a degree of self importance or even delusions of grandeur and will boast about his achievements. He likely retains an obsessive intellectual interest in certain subjects. Physical appearance. There are physically two types commonly. The more numerous is the stocky type, who have heavy features, a large body, and a thick wavy hair. The more numerous is the stocky type, who have heavy features and a large body. This is the physical appearance of the Baryta carb. So, hirsutism is common in females of this type. Hirsutism. Next, there is a tendency to put on weight, especially around the buttocks and the hips. Ridges are sometimes seen above the eyes that tend to have a very look about them. The lips are generally thick, reflecting a sensuous nature, and the figures' toes are very short and thick, reflecting the unrefined physical nature of the majority of the types. So this is the physical appearance. The other less common physique is the puny, underdeveloped, very stout, very stunted growth, both physically and mentally. The stunted growth is the very much physical appearance of this Baryta carb. So this was it about Baryta carb constitutional remedy. So if you have any queries, then please do comment it in the comment box, and if you have liked it, press the like button, and if you are new to my channel, then press the subscribe button and stay tuned for more updates. Thank you.